Hey everyone, welcome back to Roxfall, your home for the internet's best interviews, reviews, and actual play in the world of tabletop and board gaming. Today I want to highlight someone really special in this community. Something that I've always really enjoyed about this community of role-playing gamers and tabletop fans is their ability to create. There's a ton of original ideas coming around in this field, and I have an interview today with someone extremely special who has taken an idea and ran with it and succeeded. And I'm very, very excited to have you listen to him. His name is Russ Charles, and he is the creator of Animal Adventures, Tales of Dungeons and Doggies. It is up on Kickstarter right now. As of this episode going up, it has 6 days left on its Kickstarter run, and it will definitely be worth your while to check it out. It is amazing. It is fantastic. The art is brilliant, and I'll let Russ take it from here, but seriously, go check it out. All the links to everything that he's doing are going to be in the description tag for this episode. Please click those links. Follow him on Twitter, follow him on Instagram, follow his Painting Polygons stream on Twitch, and go check out the Kickstarter. And if you like what you see, go back it and let him know we sent you there. So without further ado, here's my interview with Russ. Welcome to Roxfall, Russ. You are the co-founder of Painting Polygons on Twitch, which is a fantastic channel, by the way.
Thank you.
You're a sculpting artist, and you've worked with Steamforged Games, Warmachine, Reaper, and you just came off a really successful collaboration with Critical Role. So how is that all going?
Wow, it's going amazingly. You get dream projects. You get projects that you literally talk about wanting to do in the future, and you can't imagine that there could be a circumstance where they would happen. And for me, Critical Role was one of those, because I've been a fan of the show for years. And when they announced a new campaign, I jokingly said to my brother, who's also a sculptor, I'm going to do some fan art because I love the new character designs. And he said to me, oh, imagine if they liked the miniatures and then we got to do a miniatures range. And I was like, you're a crazy fool. That never happens in the real world. And yet here we are. It's just phenomenal. And they're such easy people to work with. They're all creatives. They're all super positive. I mean, they're exactly as friendly and upbeat as they come across on the show. It's just been fantastic. That's
awesome. I can't imagine working with someone who like you're huge fans of. That just sounds amazing to me.
Oh, it's pretty cool. I mean, as a kid, like many people, I got into gaming through things like Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000. And one of my first professional freelance jobs out of the gate was to work with Rick Priestley, who invented Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000.
No kidding.
Yeah, I know. I did a load of designs for his science fiction game. And so I'm trying to be all, professional and cool. And in my head, I'm just thinking, keep it together, man. Keep it together.
I bet. So you started with like the hardcore miniature tabletop gaming then, yeah? When you jumped into the world of RPGs and tabletop stuff?
Yeah. So my background, my hobby background, I started quite young. I'm getting on a bit now. I'm in my 40s, and I started when I was 9. My uncle gave me a really old copy of some sort of Ral Pathar dungeon exploring game and a copy of Tunnels and Trolls.
Very cool.
And then I segued from that into a red box set of D&D with back when it came with a collection of dice that was so cheap, they also sent you a crayon to colour numbers in yourself with.
Yeah, those were very cool.
From there, I very swiftly, none of my friends wanted to play D&D, but they were kind of interested in the war game side of things, so I swiftly moved on to Warhammer and spent a lot of time in the miniatures side of things. And although that, since becoming a pro sculptor, most of my work's been for like miniatures and tabletop games, my first love is still and always has been role-playing, which is why Critical Role has been such a wonderful project to work on. Marrying my two favorite things, which is sculpting cool stuff and role-playing stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And the work is gorgeous, by the way. I'll obviously link everything for what you're doing into the show notes. So seriously, guys, go check all of his stuff out because it's amazing.
Thank you. I would send you a link to my portfolio website, but it's like 3 years out of date. One of the nice problems that you have when you find some success in the industry is you don't keep your portfolio up to date because there's never any time.
Well, that's a good thing, I think. So,
oh, it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like you had a bit of a different path to role playing than I did when I was a kid. I grew up in. Are you familiar with Nevada over here in the States at all?
I'm aware of the concept. That's where Vegas is, correct?
Yeah, that's the only thing.
The only thing I know about.
That's the only thing anybody ever knows. But so Vegas is in the south. It's on the southern tip of Nevada, and I grew up in the north part, in the very rural area. And so there was like me and 2 other people who ever even heard about D&D back when I was in high school, 10, 15 years ago. And it was just us, and we played 3.5, but we loved the concept. And I didn't really get into it again until like 4 or 5 years ago. So it seems like you had a much more fluid experience than I did. Yeah,
I've kind of, it's kind of been the constant in my life. I met my wife through gaming, and so I mean, I'm coming up on what? Oh god, this dates me so badly. I'm coming up on 34 years in the hobby now.
That's just astounding. Like, I wish I had more in it, but it just didn't work out.
I should highlight that that's not 34 years as an industry professional. I didn't actually start sculpting professionally until I was in my 30s. I was a school teacher before this, and this was just something I did as a hobby. And I've sort of made the transition from doing teaching to doing this, which is why I enjoy having the sculpting channel and sharing techniques, because I still have that itch to share knowledge and help people develop their skills.
That's just awesome. Being able to transition something that you can fully invest yourself in is awesome for your job.
Oh yeah, I mean, me and my creative director boss both came from different industries into gaming, and we went to Los Angeles shortly before the Critical Role Kickstarter to meet the cast and get final sign off on all the miniatures and all of that stuff that's best done face to face. And there's a whole anecdote about the hire car company that I won't go into. It's not very interesting. But the net result was, for the price of this Prius, we ended up with a convertible 2018 bright red Camaro, and we're going up the freeway towards Hollywood Boulevard with the top down and the sun's out and the music's playing, and my boss just looked at me and went, "We've made good career choices." I was like, "You are not incorrect, sir."
It really sounds like it. Jeez.
That was a good day. Like any job, there are good days and bad days, but I have to say the good days in this are pretty good, and the bad ones aren't bad.
Well, that's really awesome to hear. Kind of gives some hope for aspiring artists out there to really follow their passion, I think.
Absolutely. And I think, the project that you've asked me on to talk about is an indicator of that, which is that it's a bit of a dare to dream project when we get into it. This was a crazy idea that I just couldn't leave alone and had to make happen and push through. And it's just been phenomenal, the response.
So let's talk. Let's jump right into it.
So just to give anyone who's not sure the brief
go for it.
Context, to give it its full, rather grand title and copyright safe title, Animal Adventures: Tales of Dungeons and Doggies, is currently on Kickstarter, and it is a campaign which you can back, wherein you get a collection of miniatures sculpted by myself and a companion set of rules, and you get an adventure and some art and all of that fine stuff. And the core concept is, what if intelligent dogs were part of the D&D universe? These aren't like humanoid dogs. They are literally dogs that have acquired the ability to think and speak if you want them to. And the miniatures represent the various classes. So we've got a Chihuahua rogue and we've got a golden retriever wizard, and you get pre-generated characters. We're going to give you rules for creating your own dog characters. Like I say, there's an adventure, there's magic items, there's lore, there's a dog deity. We're just trying to put a complete package out there that you can basically, it's like a drag and drop. It'll fit into any campaign world, maybe not the super serious ones, but it'll fit into most campaign worlds. And the genesis of the idea was a happy accident. which I'll go into. But yeah, the short answer is we've put it out, and the response, it turns out that there's a lot of people in the world that were very ready for dogs in their fantasy gaming, because it's blown up. I mean, I think we're at 7,500 backers or something at the moment. It's gone really, really incredibly well, far beyond what I could have expected. So yeah, the genesis of the project, and I have to tip my hat to the wonderful, talented and delightfully easy to work with April Prime, who's the artist on the project. And anyone who goes and looks at the page, you will see some of the most enchanting dog sort of painted Magic the Gathering style, really high quality illustrations that she's produced, and she's producing more for the product. And I discovered her by random happenstance, and this is another Critical Role thing. This is pre even my involvement with them on an official level. I was looking for someone who could do me a character portrait for a new D&D character, and I thought to myself, well, yeah, I'll do a skill trade. I'll offer up a sculpt. I'll sculpt a miniature for someone for their character, and they can draw my character, and that seems like a really nice trade. And April approached me, and I really liked her work. And the character concept that she sent through to me was effectively what became Sir Cornelius, our wizard. It was a golden retriever in a wizard's hat, casting mage hand, but it was a paw to give someone a high five. And I just thought, this is just charming. And so we got chatting, and then I got chatting to Matt, my painting buddy for Painting and Polygons, and we were like, well, it would be really cool, wouldn't it? And then I said, well, it's not going to take long. We can put out 12 dogs, one for each class, a quick PDF, maybe put it on Kickstarter. What we wanted really to do was fund some new recording equipment for our stream. I wanted a better microphone, which is what I'm currently talking to you on. And Matt wanted a better camera. And funnily enough, we streamed with a much better camera last night. So we just thought, it'll be a modest little Kickstarter. We'll put out maybe a few hundred casts in metal, and get some money to buy some new stream equipment. That'll be really cool. Yeah, it's kind of gone a little bit beyond that now.
Yeah, a little bit, definitely.
But as soon as we decided we were going forward with it, we got April on board. We hired her to produce all of the artwork, and she's worked tirelessly. She's amazing. I mean, she's such a brave person. When I met her, she first started talking to her. She was living in Australia, working freelance over there, and then she was offered a job. And with 3 days' notice, she just moved to Vancouver. Just because there was a career opportunity that she wanted to pursue. And I've got so much respect for anyone who is willing to, seize the day like that. So she's been amazing. In fact, everything connected with the project has been amazing. I can't praise highly enough the people I've got to collaborate with, and even more so the community that we're building around the project. 4,000 people jumping onto our Facebook page, and I've gone from 150 Twitter followers to 3,500, and now people, I actually have to think about what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then the project itself, I've seen Kickstarters where, you don't go near the comments because they're a wretched hive of scum and villainy. And ours, by comparison, it's just like taking a warm, soapy bath. Everyone is just an absolute delight. I'm telling you, dog people are the best people. And this project has just shown me that. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, basically kind of, we chatted a little bit before I hit record, and that's kind of what I saw as well from the outside. Obviously I'm not involved with the project, but you were bouncing around Twitter and Facebook for a bit before the project even was launching on Kickstarter, and the response was just warm and grateful. So like you had mentioned, the community kind of wanting something like this. Clearly they do, because your Kickstarter is currently sitting at 1,371% funded. So
yeah,
that I definitely think that shows some interest, and I think you really found a market for yourself. I do want to go into the dogs themselves, because that's the charm of this whole thing. You mentioned Cornelius, the golden retriever wizard. There's also Nightingale, the Pomeranian monk. Tedric, the Chihuahua rogue, Montag, the Cocker Spaniel bard.
The list goes on.
On and on.
We got 13 dogs. Like I say, there's one for every class in the core D&D 5th edition player's handbook. And then there's a bonus dog because, again, one of the rather lovely things that got to happen is there's a really, really delightful webcomic called Dungeons and Doggies, which features 4 dogs playing D&D each week, and it segues between them at the table and them in character in their game world, battling evil cats. And I got chatting with the creator of that, and we decided that our Kickstarter exclusive would be one of the characters from the comic, and then the characters that we created, like Monty and Cornelius and Nightingale, have appeared as characters in a few episodes of Dungeons and Doggies. And again, that's just been, that wasn't a financial thing. That wasn't we didn't sit down and write contracts. We were just dog-loving people that wanted to do something cool for each other. So that's been really nice. But the characters, the idea behind the miniatures is that you can create your own dogs. You can use the miniatures for your own characters. And where some of them are quite clearly a certain class, others are more generic, like Tobias, who's a little corgi warlock. He could play as a rogue or a sorcerer, or a ranger just as easily. So when you get the project, we're going to give you the rules to be able to create your own dogs. And it's my fond hope that we get to do more dogs in the future. And I think, considering how the funding's gone, that's more or less on the cards now.
That's awesome. So you've got, there's even a story setting, and I believe there's an adventure that comes out with the Kickstarter as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a family affair. So my wife, Kate, who's a very talented writer, has and she thinks very deeply about the plausibility of lore. So she's the one who will work out how a deity works and what the tenets of dog religion might look like. And so she sat down and she's written vignette stories for all of the pre-generated characters, and she's written linking pieces that feed through the book, and she's written the guide to worshipping the good mother, who is the dog's deity, and we've got a holy symbol for them and special abilities. And that's been going great. And my brother, who is a far, far better dungeon master than I could ever hope to be, Ben, he has written an adventure with a light-hearted title, but quite a serious it's got a serious heart at it. It's some high stakes stuff. It's called Who'll Let the Dogs Out, and it's a story of dark magic and heroics, and it kind of leans on the themes of the guide, because we've tried to really make the central theme of it be the sort of nobility and companionship and loyalty and dogs' instinctive need to protect and nurture. And that comes across in the rules that we've written and the kind of abilities you have access to, and in the adventure and what the players get to do. But it's been very important to us that we wanted to make sure that you are not obligated to just play an all-dog group. You can play as the one Cocker Spaniel that hangs out with an elf and a dwarf and a couple of tieflings, if that's what you want to do. It's about trying to make it as open as we can.
Yeah, the flexibility that you're able to do with this is going to be, it's just astounding, and I'm definitely going to back this project myself because it's fantastic. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on and chatting about this with us. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we head off?
Sure. Just quickly, if people are interested, and when you go and look at the project, just to bear in mind, the miniatures are pre-assembled. They are plastic figures, and the reason we did that was because we had an opportunity to pitch for a slightly higher funding target at the start, which I realise now sounds crazy, but at the start it felt like a more ambitious target, because it meant that we could make the project that much more accessible and affordable. In metal, it would have cost literally twice as much. And it's my fervent hope that this is just the beginning for Animal Adventures. We're already talking about Cats and Catacombs, and we're talking about a sequel to Doggies. So really, come over, take a look. If it's not for you, fantastic. Thanks for giving us a try. And if it is, jump on board and join the puppy party.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Russ, for coming on. And I will link everything in the description of the show, and we'll have some really cool artwork on Instagram and Twitter. So thank you all for listening, and take care.